Hey there, today we're taking a look at Counter-Strike 2 running on the AMD Ryzen 5 6600H. Now keep in mind that the Ryzen 5 6600H is pretty much exactly the same as the AMD Ryzen 5 7535HS. Both of them are 6-core 12-thread CPUs running on the Zen 3 architecture, and the IPC difference between the two of them is pretty much negligible. It's practically non-existent, and of course the iGPU is the same between the two, being the Radeon 660M. So the performance numbers that you see here will also apply to any system that is running on the Ryzen 5 7535HS. That does also make it very similar to the Ryzen 5 7535U, though keep in mind that the 35U is going to have a lower TDP. But as you can see here, running with Counter-Strike 2, and we are just running with a bot match due to the fact that MSI Afterburner does not work if you are in the trusted game mode. Pretty much what you need to play multiplayer. So we're kind of just relegated to bot matches if we want to actually be able to test the performance on here. And as you can see, the performance numbers that we're getting are pretty decent here. 1% lows are just slightly under 60, so not the most ideal for a competitive shooter like this. But the fact that our FPS average is at above 100 FPS does mean that overall this is going to be a pretty much fantastic gaming experience for practically anybody. Really, overall, I'm very impressed with the results, and the experience of actually playing the game on here was pretty great, especially when I actually played it not through the capture card. What you're seeing right now is pretty much just me recording it and playing through the preview on OBS. So a noticeably brutal experience for a shooter like this, but hooked up to my 240 hertz display over display ports so that we could actually utilize all of that. The experience was pretty rock solid. Of course, we weren't able to utilize the full FPS range that we could reach, or rather the full hertz of the display, but it still felt very nice and smooth, and it still just benefits pretty dramatically from having that extra refresh rate. So if you are using a system with this specific chip, you are going to be able to have a pretty rock solid time. And if you have a high refresh rate display, well, you're going to get a lot of benefit of it. Now, of course, 240 hertz displays might be a little overkill here, as you can tell by the FPS average. But if you can get yourself a 144 hertz display, you're going to be able to utilize a good bit of that. And remember, there are diminishing returns to higher refresh rates. The biggest benefits are going to be in those lower numbers. The jump going from 60 to 100 is going to feel pretty substantial in comparison to, say, going from 120 to 144 hertz. So overall, I'm very impressed with the results on this system. If you're interested in picking up a Beelink SER6, check the links down below. You might actually be able to get the Ryzen 7 version of this system, which is going to give you even better performance. So check it all down below.